guys, we arrived at the castle. Castle is, they call castle Castello here, or Castel in some places. Okay, you get a vibe of South Korea or Japan here.
Yo, history buffs and castle connoisseurs, buckle up, because we're about to storm the legendary Castello Sforzesco in Milan, Italy. But before we get swept away by its imposing walls, let's rewind time a bit. This castle wasn't built by a fairy tale princess. It was the brainchild of the Sforza family, a bunch of ruthless Renaissance rock stars. See this bad boy? This wasn't just a home. It was a symbol of power, built in the 15th century by the Sforzas. They weren't your average nobility. They clawed their way to the top through military might and cunning political maneuvering. Imagine scheming war strategies in these very halls, the clank of armor, a constant reminder of their ambition. Hold on, before we breach the castle walls, let's pay our respects to this magnificent fountain. Alright, time to conquer the first layer of defenses. Look at this incredible architecture. Those crenellations on top, those weren't just for decoration. They were a medieval murder-she-wrote machine. Archers used to rain down arrows from up there on anyone foolish enough to mess with the Sforzas. But who exactly were these Sforzas? Buckle up, history buffs, because their story is as dramatic as any castle wall. The Sforzas weren't your typical blue-blooded nobility. They started out in the 14th century as a family of ambitious farmers from Romagna, a region in northern Italy. The family patriarch, Muzio Attendolo, wasn't interested in tilling the soil. He craved the thrill of battle. He earned the nickname Sforza, which means force in Italian, for his impressive military skills. This wasn't just a nickname, it became the family's destiny. Muzio's son, Francesco Sforza, took the family name and the love of war to a whole new level. He became a brilliant mercenary, or condottiero in Italian. Basically, he was a soldier for hire, the ultimate freelancer of the Renaissance. Francesco fought for whoever offered the most gold and land, switching sides faster than you can say double-cross. But hey, it was a dog-eat-dog world back then, and Francesco played the game brilliantly. See how these fortifications are so cleverly designed? That's all thanks to Francesco's military genius. He wasn't just a fighter, he was a strategist, and he used his battlefield knowledge to turn this castle into an impregnable fortress. By the mid-1400s, Francesco had his sights set on a bigger prize, the Duchy of Milan. Milan was a wealthy city-state, and its ruler, the Duke of Visconti, was on his last legs. Francesco saw his chance and pounced. After years of scheming, political maneuvering, and a strategic marriage, he married the Duke's illegitimate daughter. Francesco finally conquered Milan in 1450. The Sforzas, from humble beginnings, were now the rulers of a powerful Italian state. So, the Sforzas rose to power through military might and cunning. But how did they maintain control? And what about that forbidden love story we mentioned earlier? Stay tuned, because the drama within these castle walls is just getting started. This second wall is even more impressive than the first. It's like a giant stone maze, designed to confuse and slow down any attackers. Imagine being a soldier trying to storm this place. You'd be lost faster than a tourist without a map, and under fire before you even knew what hit you, unless you tripped over a bored guard taking a nap. Hey, check out this cool. This tells a whole story about the castle's past. See, this place is like a giant history book, just waiting for us to crack its code.
Okay.
All this history talk can be tiring. Let's take a break in this beautiful garden. This wasn't just a pretty space for the Sforzas, it was also a place for them to relax, strategize their next move, and maybe even entertain some important guests. Imagine strolling through these gardens with a glass of wine, surrounded by the beauty of nature and the power of the castle. Who knows, maybe you'll even spot a secret meeting happening under a shady tree. Just don't eavesdrop. Those Sforzas were known to be a bit paranoid. So, we've explored the entrance, the watchful eyes of the towers, the formidable walls, and a peaceful garden that might hold some secret whispers. But the legend of Castello Sforzesco goes beyond the stone and mortar. Whispers of a forbidden love affair still linger within these walls, a love story that threatened to topple the Sforza's carefully constructed house of cards. Alright, history buffs, let's shift gears from battles and power struggles to a story of forbidden love. This very spot is rumored to be where whispers of a scandalous affair still echo in the halls of Castello Sforza. The protagonist of this love story? Francesco Sforza, the powerful Duke of Milan, a man whose loyalty was, well, let's just say his heart roamed further than his armies ever did. Think of him as the original shadow texter of the Renaissance. Although, knowing his luck, he probably used carrier pigeons to send secret messages, which would explain why it took his wife so long to catch on. It's like your ex-wife, sneaking in the bathroom, answering calls and sending messages to her lover at night, and waiting for you to fall asleep so she can sneak out and fuel her carnal desires. Can you picture it? Duke Francesco sneaking away from his political meetings to steal a moment with Cecilia in this very spot? Imagine the stolen glances, the passionate whispers, the nervous energy that must have filled the air. A bit like your ex-wife suddenly appearing at 3 a.m., phone clutched in her hand, with a story about a late-night work call that sounds suspiciously like a love sonnet. Only instead of a phone, Francesco probably had to hide a love letter under a pile of armor. This wasn't just a harmless flirtation. The Duke was a married man, and Cecilia, though not of royal blood, was still a woman of high social standing. Their affair threatened to become a full-blown scandal, potentially jeopardizing the carefully constructed political alliances of the Sforza family. It's like your selfish ex-wife, even when you have kids who will end up broken, empowered by her flying monkeys as an entitled person after getting exposed. In the end, societal pressures and political realities forced Cecilia to marry another nobleman. But the whispers about her relationship with the Duke lingered in the halls of the castle for years to come. This forbidden love story, a testament to the power of passion even within the confines of a ruthless court, became a permanent fixture in the Sforza family's legacy. Just a reminder, Francesco, sneaking around at night rarely ends well. Maybe next time, try a more honest approach, or at least invest in carrier pigeons with better delivery times. Remember, no secrets are hidden forever. It will come out in due time, and the Most High is watching.
Ma cos'è?
Wait a minute. Isn't this the same square we saw earlier? Maybe the Sforza architects like symmetry a little too much, or maybe this castle is more like a labyrinth than we thought. Hold up a finger. Speaking of labyrinths, remember that rumor about hidden passageways? Well, some believe these squares connect to a whole network of secret tunnels beneath the castle. Imagine getting lost down there. It would be like a real-life game of medieval hide-and-seek, with the ghost of a jealous duke chasing after you. But let's shift gears from secret tunnels to a story that unfolded right out in the open, or at least semi-open. This spot right here is where whispers of a scandalous affair still seem to echo in the halls. See, the Duke, Francesco Sforza, was a powerful man with a wandering eye. And his object of desire? Well, that would be Cecilia Gallerani, a beautiful young noblewoman and a famous portrait subject of Leonardo da Vinci himself. Can you imagine it? The Duke sneaking away from his wife to meet Cecilia in this very spot? The stolen glances, the passionate whispers, all under the watchful eye of the court and the ever-present threat of scandal? Maybe even the bored guards gossiping amongst themselves. This wasn't just some harmless fling. This affair could have jeopardized the Sforza family's carefully constructed political alliances. Cecilia eventually married someone else, but the whispers about their romance continue to swirl around the castle. So, the Sforza family legacy is a mix of power, ambition, and a touch of forbidden love. And hey, if you're feeling inspired by all this talk of art and romance,